10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We have ignition.
The Geek Week in Review.
Hello. Welcome back to the Geek Week in Review, episode 96. 96. Whoa! How do we get there? If you're new to the show, then check out geekweekinreview.co.uk. You can give myself a follow. You can give Super Sorrel a follow. You can give Ryan Speaks Geek a follow. Doesn't matter where you're watching us. You might be watching us on Sorrel's channel. You might be watching us on Ryan's channel. You might be watching us on my channel. Doesn't matter where you're watching us. Jump in on the chat. We'll interact with you in the comments. And of course, as always, you know, like and share and all of those things. How are you this week, gents?
Pretty good after not being here for a little while. I have returned.
Who is this guy? Who is this? I've seen him for weeks.
It's your good friend Ryan Speaks Geek.
Good friend Ryan Speaks Geek.
Which I actually got a package from Ash that was addressed to our good friend Ryan Speaks Geek. He's my postman to no end.
That's it. Hello, people in the comments joining in. Now, we did learn last week that if you're watching it on one channel, you might not see the comments from other channels. So we'll interact with you as much as we can. If you're obviously watching on the same channel as somebody else, then you'll see their comments. But yeah, so we're working through that. 4 weeks. We've got 1 month until episode 100. That is mad. That is mad. Which means that we've only got 8 weeks until our 2-year anniversary.
Wow,
that's insane.
Jeez. Are we doing gifts? Because I don't really know what the gift is for 2 years. I'm sorry.
Did you not get the message? My gift's already out in the post. Sorrel sent his. Did you? Oh no, you weren't here last week, Ryan.
Oh no, mine must have been lost with all the Hasbro merchandise that gets sent to me and all my Diamond Select stuff, and it must be all caught up in the post office, all that stuff as well.
Mate, only one of us was a Hasbro fan this week. Let's be honest. Someone got all the mail from Hasbro. So yeah, do check out Sorrel's channel because there's loads coming there, which is very cool.
Hey, there was a mailer list that none of us got, by the way. There's a mailer that got sent out for Indiana Jones as well.
Oh, really?
It was a massive. It was in the box that got sent in to the American followers, like the Swoosh and that open one, and his was in the shape of like the Ark of the Covenant, and then you open the Ark up to get all the toys out of it. I know.
Okay, that's the worst thing. About.
The worst thing about getting sent out things is obviously seeing some of the things you don't get, if that makes sense. Like, don't get me wrong, we don't get sent out hundreds and hundreds of things, but when you see things like that, you're kind of like, oh man, that is really cool.
Yeah, that must be really tough for you guys on those rare occasions.
Hey, listen, you got a freebie at Celebration. Come on, let's not mess around. You got
Jazzwares are my friend.
Yeah, I've never had anything from Jazzwares. Like, that's cool.
Yeah, to be honest, I am generally stoked about that because I fucking love that line.
Before we do, let's just, for the sake of everyone watching, do jump in on the comments, join in with the chat. We'll interact with you as much as we can. This week, we've got a bit of a mix show. We'll talk about Mando. We had a last episode of Mandalorian season 3. Of course, we had the big 30th anniversary mini movie, should we call it, on Netflix for, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. There we go. We had a handful of figures kind of landing. I mean, I had loads of figures turn up. Absolutely loads turn up. It just seemed like loads of Marvel Legends waves all coming out at once.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of toy news as well. Where do you gents want to go first?
To bed. I'm really tired.
Ryan, you've had 2 weeks off, mate. What?
I love it. 2 weeks off, as if like I've been doing nothing for 2 weeks. Like I just wait and prep for this, and this is the only thing I do. And as I've not been on this, that's the bit about.
That's what we do.
I like it. Me and Jacob don't have a life, mate. Me and Jacob just sit here and just all we think about is content 24/7, mate.
That's it. I just.
Which actually should be things up when you look at how little content is on my channel. But, yeah.
I wish. Like, yeah, it's work and life getting away. But we'll do Spotlight. Spotlight of the week we'll do as Mighty Morphin Power Rangers because that's a big one, isn't it? You know, it's 30 years in the making, big reunion, lots of opinions, lots to talk about. So we'll do that as the spotlight, I think. Where should we go first? Where should
Should
we
we
go
jump
first?
in at Mandalorian because that's obviously a big talking point this week.
Mandalorian? Yeah, okay. Let's do that.
There's always
Let's
time
do
for
that.
Mando.
So it was obviously the
let's have
season
a look.
finale this week.
It was, wasn't it? It wasn't it? So that would go under what we've been watching.
What have we been watching?
Yeah, there we go. Look, see, there's no expense spared on this show. No expense spared.
Or spent.
Yeah. So season 3. What was it? Episode 8.
Something like that.
No, wait. Yes.
The last episode. What do you guys think?
I was really happy about it, controversially compared to a lot of people. But you know me, I actually, I'm one of those weird people that I actually quite like it when things are just rounded up nicely without having cliffhangers and cameos and.
Yeah,
Ooh,
I didn't.
It's
To be
the
fair,
all from the Millennium Falcon. No, I'm all right with actually just being. It was a nice sum up episode, which was just about a group of people trying to take back their home world from a massive dick bag in super armor. And I am all for beating down super dick bags. That's going to be on a t-shirt next week. You're welcome.
You
A
love
lot of
beating
people-
down.
Space
A lot
time.
of
There was a
people were sort of
joke there. I'm
kicking-
not even going to go there. I'm not even going to go there.
A lot of people were kicking off about the ending, obviously wanting it to lead into the next thing, and we all know that there's going to be another thing because of Celebration. We all know where this is leading, but I genuinely think this is the end of his storyline for a while. I know they've already announced season 4, but that doesn't necessarily mean he has to be in it. It's the Mandalorian. It's not the Din Djarin show.
Yeah.
So I mean, the Mandalorian is any of the Mandalorians. So
Yeah.
to me, they can carry it on without him. But I think that's a nice little rounded off. He's gone from being this loner to having someone. He's adopted his own kid. He's got a place to live. He's got a place to lay low. He's got his family back. He's got all the
job.
Mandalorians back settled on a thing. He's got a job.
Yeah.
It's weird. He's like settled down now, and it's like a nice ending to see him sort of like relaxing at the end in that cheesy little animation ending.
Nobody ever sees your face. do.
You know what? I don't know.
I know you're opposite to all of us, aren't you? I mean, what were your thoughts?
You know what? When I first watched it, I was kind of disappointed. I rewatched it with my eldest boy because he's kind of, he's got to go to school and stuff, so he couldn't watch it. So I do work, just FYI. For everyone's clarification. But no, so I watched it quite late Wednesday night, and then I rewatched it with him, and I quite like the fact that it's kind of just gone full circle. He's now just back to being like a bounty hunter, kind of, doing jobs for the New Republic and stuff. I didn't like the way it ended. I didn't like the cheesy him sitting outside the caravan. Like all he needed was a banjo in his hand. You had like Grogu playing in the mud. Like it was crap. Like it looked like a caravan. It looked like a trailer home. Like it really
looked like
did.
all the houses in Tatooine in desert things in Star Wars. It's
the way
exactly the same thing.
the way the shot was framed and all that kind of stuff, it looked like a trailer. And I don't know. I just had Breaking Bad vibes, and I don't know. I just didn't like that. And there were a couple of things in the episode I didn't like. So I didn't like the fact that Moff Gideon came out in this like super badass armor, and then just kind of like it was kind of like killing a boss in a computer game. Do you know what I mean? It was like a really lame.
Do you honestly think he's dead then?
Well, now when you said that, I was kind of like, oh, okay, maybe they'll keep him alive. But then even that kind of annoys me because I'm kind of like, just kill him off, like kill him. Like
I think he's killed off.
Yeah, I think that as well. And I would have liked to have seen him have like not a hero's death, but do you know what I mean? Like a villain's death, like something big, something dramatic. Like, let's look back to the original Star Wars films. Like when the bad guys died, they died epically, and that was
except
a bit
for Boba
lame. Doug in the comments said there, something you mentioned, Sorrel, that it could be one of his clones.
I think
like it won't be because they made such a point about destroying all the clones. It almost felt like they did that to make sure that you couldn't go like it's a clone. And the other thing is, I agree with you about the death. You know what would have made it just a little bit better as a death is, I expected this to happen. When the Grogu had the Force bubble with the fire.
Yeah,
I wanted some kind of like melting arm or something to be up against the Force thing, like dragging down it or something. That would have been quite cool. Like some kind of last thing.
like
I
a
don't know.
dirty Titanic. Like it's just like But yeah, I just
They made too much of a thing of he's trying to get the Force into these clones, and they made too much of a storyline out of it for it to just be thrown away so easily.
Yeah.
In the film, we're going to see. In the film, I reckon we're going to get like a Moff Gideon that can use the Force, that can have the dark saber, like a clone of the dark saber. It's like some magical shit. You know what I mean? He's going to have a lightsaber or something in the final film.
but that's
But
how
the
I
whole
see
point
it
of
coming.
those, but the whole point of those is setting up Snoke. That's the whole point of this, isn't it?
Yeah, because
He's a
Yeah.
clone with Force, so it's not necessarily that it's setting up that there's going to be a Gideon with Force. The whole idea was that the concept is there to try and effectively make the sequels make more sense by
it's
adding
not-
these things into it.
But if you listen to the thing, Moff Gideon wasn't the one working towards that goal. That was the necromancy project or something that's being headed up by what's his face's father.
Yeah.
From
Well,
the
that's
sequel.
it. That will be now
Moff
because it will be
Gideon-
taken over from because Gideon's dead. Any research you have will be taken
No.
over by Hux.
That
because-
was already in the works. In that scene
did
in the
say
last
as
episode
well,
before.
clone
He
No,
did
of
say
your
before,
I
they
know
already
that.
made-
But what I'm saying is the Force element
Yeah.
was not part of his, so he will then take that from Gideon's stuff, and then that will lead to Snoke.
You know what? I'm kind of with Sorrow on it. I think that they're going to come back with some big bad Moff Gideon like
Deluxe.
version 2 kind of. That's the big bad of the film, and that's why everyone's got to put their power rings together and join forces. Like it's
See, I think Thrawn's the big bad of the film.
Mm,
In all honesty,
Yeah.
I think Thrawn
Yeah.
Thrawn will be introduced in Ahsoka, but he will be the big bad because Din Djarin's job is now to go around and find any remnant Imperial warlords. That's his off-screen and possibly season 4 he bet. Thrawn's being introduced. So we've had 3 seasons of Gideon. Gideon's done. We've now been introduced to the council, which set up Thrawn's being the head of a council of remnant Imperials. That's the setup. So this is the introduction. So this is the Gideon coming out of the TIE fighter at the end of the other season. Ahsoka will be the bit where we get to know more about Thrawn, what Thrawn's up to, and everything like that. And then you've got the other things happening. And then the last movie will be the movie will be the Mandalorians, because Thrawn, Ahsoka, Rebels crew, stuff like that. It will be effectively a culmination of all TV verse. And Thrawn has been set up as the big bad from both Rebels, Mandalorian now, and then Ahsoka going forward. So I kind of feel like this is going to be so that's why I think Thrawn is actually the main villain of. Effectively, we're going to get Heir to the Empire, as I said in the trailer, is going to be the movie. Is what I think.
Yeah, that would work. That would work. But then there's also air levels as well, like the dark saber, like just being kind of crushed, like that. Just was like that. It's been tied in so heavily with like Rebels and Clone Wars, and it just felt like again like a bit of he just squeezed it a bit tight and he's broken it. Like,
Don't worry, be happy. I know.
It'll be rebuilt, and the thing is as well, it's
Yeah.
just a symbol. That was the point. It's just a symbol. That's not who Mandalorians are. They're more than what this sword is. They're a group of people. They're a race. They're united, and they're better when they work together.
All right, then. So looking back at the,
I think the dark saber will get reforged, and I think later down the line it'll fall back into Grogu's hands. And it'll become his weapon of choice later down the line.
Is he going to get bigger, or is he always going to be little?
Well, he's going to be little in this timeline because how they age. He'll always be little. He'll only be like, even if they're making catch up to where Rey is, he's only going to be a little bit bigger than that because of the timeline. It's only like 20 years till Rey now.
Do you know what I read though, which was really cool? That if you look at the timelines of when Grogu was born, because they say he's like 50 or whatever, don't they?
Yeah.
When he was born, it's taken a long time to learn to speak. Let's just put that out there. But he's like 50 or something, and there was someone who did all the maths, and it turns out he was born in the same year as Anakin Skywalker. And so when they're talking about like bring balance to the Force and all that kind of stuff, was Grogu created as the good and Anakin as the bad and all this kind of stuff? Like, it's a cool theory. I love theories.
That'd be one hell of a retcon, wouldn't it? That'd be one hell of a retcon. Now.
Massive. Yeah. So Shelley said, so do we still think the armor is dodgy? Someone helped made them Beskar suits. I don't know. She kind of redeemed herself a little bit in that last episode, I thought.
Yeah, she did.
I don't think she's dodgy. And as for who made the suits, you got to remember they already had Imperial designed Mandalorian armor from the Rebels season 4. So
Mhm.
there's already Imperial plans and production based all around Mandalorian designs in
That was
Imperial
down to
use.
Sabine and stuff. Wasn't it? Sabine and stuff helped the Empire, didn't she, for a
Yeah.
short while?
Yeah,
The
so
one
they were
thing-
like
Rebel.
the evolution from that design, which is
The one
pretty
thing I
awesome
didn't
to see.
get, or I don't get about the armorer, is like she's pretty like badass and all that kind of stuff. But why is she still like using her forging tools as weapons? Like, give that girl like a blaster or like a sword or something. Like, there's that bit where
Doesn't
they're
need
flying
them,
through
that's
the
the best
sky.
part.
She's like hitting people with a wrench, and like it's kind of like whoa, like
All I'm gonna say is she survives the whole thing. So maybe we're doing something wrong. Maybe we need to arm more people with just. We need to like go. Don't get the army involved. Just pop down to B&Q, get them strapped up. You know,
yeah,
send them
get
in.
a
It's fine.
Wix, like you know. Yeah, I don't know. So okay, looking back at
To
season
Wix.
3, favorite part of season 3, like that stood out, that was your highlight of season 3.
Ooh. Favorite part.
The Shadow Council War Room.
That
Oh,
was
yeah,
cool to
where we got to
see.
see where we finally got to see the general from Heir to the Empire, obviously Thrawn's general. We got to see General Hux as the father, I think that is. And then we got to it all tied the whole universe together and Legends. It tied it all together in one neat little bow.
Yep, that's a good shout.
Yeah,
For
can
me,
agree with
I
that.
really liked the droid bar and all the droids, and
Yes,
like,
that was awesome.
that aspect was really
That
cool.
blue droid, that blue C-3PO was awesome.
I hate to say it,
Tragic
but
story behind it.
I really enjoyed Jack Black's character.
Yeah,
Like, a lot of people are complaining about him on the internet, but I was like Jack Black is Jack Black, but I just really enjoyed his character. Like, he suited that character so well, and it was
Spot on.
kind of nice to see somebody in the kind of the Star Wars universe kind of like obnoxiously oblivious to stuff. Like, he was just there living his best life, and I was like, who else do you get to play that but Jack Black?
I think as well with that episode, what I really loved about it was the fact it was actually the closest we're ever going to get to a live action Clone Wars episode. Like, do you know what I mean? Like in film
Yeah.
stuff. Like I think people forget, like with Star Wars, that when people often go like, oh, Clone Wars was the greatest series of all time, and Rebels were the great, and people get very defensive about things. Every episode, like,
Resistance was incredible. Like, oh no, sorry,
Yeah.
no one says that.
well, there's probably some kids that do. There are probably some people that have absolutely loved it. But like
No,
the good
no,
thing about those things, people
nobody-
forget about the
nobody loves
episodic natures about Star Wars, is that actually, as much as you have serious and dark, it's meant to be fantastical and whimsical. Like there's an equal balance between everything. I mean, look at some of the designs. There was a fucking creature that was just actually a giant ant, and no one batted an eyelid about the fact that there was a giant ant, and apparently, what's the name, had slept with it. Like, we were just all cool with that. But then, we put like Lizzo in it, and everyone goes, "Oh, it's so unrealistic." Like, again, giant ant that apparently a human woman slept with. Are we just gonna,
No.
lightning hands, all these things, and people go like, "Ah, come on, ridiculous, so unbelievable." I'm like,
Yeah.
Vicky,
I think
but
the thing
like
is as well,
the Clone Wars essence of it. It was like an animated episode in real life, and I loved that.
before we go on to Sorrel's bit as well, we mentioned this last week that it was kind of we said that because Star Wars and Marvel and everything like that is so big, and with Disney Plus and stuff like that, like, people want to be involved, people want a cameo, people want to do these kind of things, and that falls into obviously pop stars, like actors, all that kind of stuff. So these people are going to pop up that you recognize, like, so I didn't really have an issue with it being Lizzo and Jack Black. Like, they played characters, and that was that. Go on in. So your favorite bit?
Like I say, the Shadow War Room. The Shadow
you
War
said
Room was
Shadow War Room.
definitely.
Yeah.
I
Did
love
you
that
say
bit.
yours, Ryan? Sorry.
No, it's really hard to narrow it down. I loved that we got to see Baba Frick and his species. I loved that whole bit in, like, they have like a half building. Like, what is it, half rent? Like, how does that work? Do you know what? Actually, it will be just seeing the shot of all the Mandalorians in the jetpack swooping down. I think seeing the jetpack battle, because I think it's one of those things when you were a kid and you saw Boba Fett before we even had the prequels, or we were just about to get them. Like, your mind used to run wild when you were a kid thinking about with the jetpack and like what you're doing when you're playing with your Star Wars figures. The jetpack, only one character had a jetpack, and it was Boba Fett. And then then we got to see, like, there were other Mandalorians stuff like that. So to see almost like an evolution of something you used to think about when you were a kid and playing with your toys, where there could only
Yeah.
be imagination, was now not just imagination, it was there on the screen. And I really loved that. That was really
I
cool.
know.
So
I think it's
I bet
insane when you think about it as well. Like Boba Fett being like this Mandalorian, and now how big the Mandalorian kind of universe and all that kind of stuff is. Like, it's awesome, absolutely awesome. Cool. All right. Do you watch anything else this week apart from Power Rangers that we'll go on and talk about at the end?
what else to watch this week? Predator, just because I fancied watching Predator, and you know what? It's still one of the greatest films ever made.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I'm really psyched for Guardians of the Galaxy though. A lot of trailers
Yeah.
dropping recently.
A lot of little ones, yeah, little TV spots.
Loads of TV spots. There was a little shot as well of Stallone's crew as well. I don't know if you caught that in one of the trailers.
Caught that.
So they're obviously.
I haven't seen any of the TV spots actually. I've missed them all.
They're all just coming up on my Instagram on various different channels and stuff. But the one thing that really annoyed me is, do you know where they were the other day?
What?
Were they actually?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I saw that on TikTok. Yeah. They had the premiere thing, didn't they, in Paris?
Yeah, they did like a cosmic carpet, and basically, for anyone,
I saw it on.
that's been
I think it was Disney Italy's TikTok or something. I'm sure it was Disney Italy's TikTok.
yeah, it was.
Saw it on.
Yeah, it was like all the European countries kind of jumped in on it. But
Mm.
for anyone that's been to Disneyland Paris and Avengers Campus, essentially the main kind of block where you've got like the Spider-Man ride and you've got like the Hank Pym kitchen and stuff, they turned that into like a red carpet-esque kind of thing that led all the way down to the Quinjet at the bottom. So then the actors all kind of walked down the carpet, and the fans were on the side and stuff. And then they had all of the cast out on top near the Quinjet. Yeah, so I was just like, oh mate, if I was there literally a couple of weeks ago, I was there, and I had
Now
no
they've
idea.
got
I had
that
no
building-
idea what was going on.
Now they've got that built in Paris. I imagine that becoming for like Marvel movies. I see that becoming the new London sort of premiere.
Oh, it
Yeah,
makes perfect
100%.
sense. Perfect sense,
I
especially
have to say-
anything
sorry.
Avengers or Spider-Man related, because it's so
Yes.
heavily Avengers and Spider-Man.
I was gonna say, like, with Guardians of the Galaxy, it's weird because I must confess I've been having a little Marvel fatigue of recently. Like I still haven't actually finished watching some of the TV shows, and I haven't not enjoyed, but I've just been a bit indifferent. Like a one and done watch for the last few times I've watched some of the Marvel films. I've just not felt the excitement of it. But Guardians of the Galaxy is the only franchise, and it's weird. I kind of almost have it separate in my head. I think because it's so different to the rest of the films. Like, and I'm genuinely like really excited about it. I was so excited for the first one, and it was incredible. The second one was brilliant. The holiday special was brilliant. I kind of almost want some kind of edit where they can just show me the bits of Guardians from Love and Thunder and the Avengers Endgame bits. You know, I'd kind of like some kind of almost Disney Plus catch-up type thing where it just edited those together. That would be rather glorious. But it's the only thing. Well, it was the only thing Marvel I was actually excited about until actually I saw the Captain Marvel trailer, the Marvels trailer, and I was actually that piqued my interest again. I was like, oh, hello, fun again.
It's interesting looking, isn't it? And a lot of people kicked off like it wasn't received overly well, but I think people like just have it in for Captain Marvel and Miss Marvel and stuff. I don't get the hate, like how you can hate a film from a trailer. Like, it looks fun. I mean, the whole kind of switching bodies and all that kind of stuff, it's going to be kind of, you're going to have to, stick to follow along. But yeah, all in all, I think it looks a lot of fun. I'm really excited about it.
Setting up for Intergalactic Freaky Friday.
It basically is, isn't it?
Do you think they're switching bodies or just switching places? I assumed they were just switching places.
Nah, just switching
sorry,
places.
that's what I
It's just
mean.
funny.
Like
we were just having fun about,
Yeah. I don't mean that. Yeah. And we've got Secret Invasion coming out, and that's one I'm not hyped about it. I'm looking forward to it. I'll watch it, but I haven't done a deep dive into. I mean, obviously I've read the comic books and stuff, but I'm not done a deep dive into what the story arc is going to be in the show or anything. Yeah.
I was more excited for Blue Beetle and the second half of Titan season 4.
Yeah, Blue Beetle looks insane. It really does look insane. It's just like, just looks absolutely incredible.
Can I tell you I saw Shazam? I can't remember if I told you guys or not.
You saw it?
I was one of those people that actually went to the cinema to go see a film, like in the old days.
I almost went when I heard Wonder Woman was in it, and then I decided not to.
It was really good fun. I had a really good time. Again, I was just like, oh, I'll go and see the latest one. You know, it feels weird not to see it in cinema. I came out, I was like, oh yeah, Shazam was actually just really good fun. Again, it just
is.
it's big with superheroes and just a bit of, you know, mythology nonsense in it. Like,
Yeah.
I just thought it was really good fun, and I kind of was like, that's what I sort of missed from I think the last few superhero films is fun.
I just think the whole thing with Black Adam and Superman and stuff like that has really kind of put me off that corner of DC.
It just feels so disconnected from it, weirdly. Like, having watched Shazam, I wondered if there'd be, because obviously I went to go see Black Adam again. Quite enjoyed it. Like, you know, it was good, but this was a lot better than I think Black Adam. But it felt disconnected from it. Like, it felt like its own. It felt very much, just in all honesty, just a sequel to the first Shazam. And even with the Wonder Woman bit in it, like, it didn't still feel like it was like meant to be something bigger. It was just like, this is Shazam in this little bubble over here, and it's fine and it's fun.
How much screen time does Wonder Woman get in it? You've seen quite a lot of the film.
Not a huge amount. I'd probably say about 10 minutes.
As much as that? I thought it was less than that.
Well, it is and it isn't, because of a really funny. There's a weirdly funny bit which Wonder Woman is in and isn't in. It's hard to explain.
Mate, it came out weeks ago. You can say it. Anyone?
No, it's not because of spoilers. I don't know how to articulate it, because it's kind of like a dream, but it's more of a. So she is in it, but she's not, because of a face head swap thing. But it is her, but it's not.
Okay.
It's magic.
Does Shazam have a dodgy dream about Wonder Woman?
Yeah, basically, and then it gets weird, and then it's just her body, but then her head's like weird, and yeah, that's what I mean. It's really hard to articulate. It's just odd. I can't remember.
Doesn't he get invited to join?
Like
Doesn't he get invited to join a team? Doesn't he at the end? Or
he gets really pissed off. So he gets really excited because he thinks he's been invited to enjoy the Justice League, and it's the actual it's the Justice Society, which is the one from Black Adam. That's the only link to Black Adam I really heard, actually. And that was quite funny because it had two of the characters from Peacemaker in it. Which, you know, again, I think Peacemaker and the Suicide Squad, two my two favorite things from DC still.
See, what I don't get is they got these films that were coming out like Shazam and stuff, and they knew that these were going to be disconnected from anything they were going to do in the future because the timelines changing and all that kind of crap. Why did they choose to shelve Batgirl? That could have been frigging successful with Michael Keaton in it, readying up for Flash, but they kept Shazam and Black Adam. It seems so weird.
Tax write-off, but you got to remember the difference is. But you've got to remember. But you've got to remember they are two studio films. Batgirl was a TV film. There was a different part of the different part of the company. It was a different part of the productions. It's still unbelievably cunty that they did it, and there you go. I said it on a live stream because I'm still very, very angry about it.
We swear, but that was
no, but you know, careful, man. There's a child's bike outside. But you know, it just was. It was a horrible move to make all that people's work and then do it for a tax write-off. And that's the thing. There was no actual strategic reason. It was just a tax write-off. So they scrapped that and the second Scoob animated film, which was also basically finished. Two things that people have worked really hard on, and they just scrapped it for a tax break, which means they're technically not allowed to ever release it, I don't think. But I'm sure they will find some way around it at some point in the future.
It's gone.
Someone will have a bootleg.
No.
Gone forever.
Yeah.
To be fair, I'm not too mad. I'm not too mad about Scoob. Scoob was weird anyway. They were trying to build something weird with that. It wasn't.
I wasn't too bothered about it. I think it's just a shame for people's hard work to be completely wasted for a tax write-off.
Yeah. Shelley said, Peacemaker season 2
does need to hurry up.
I'm wondering if
still
it's
listen to the theme song
live up,
all the time.
But what if it doesn't live up to expectations?
But the thing is, people said that about Peacemaker as a series because of how could it live up to the Suicide Squad, and it did. So, you know, good writing is good writing.
It's John Cena, for God's sake, it'll sell.
Yeah.
Even when he's not in it, or is he in it?
Where we go next? What else are we talking? We got any toy news this week?
Yeah,
we've got that for ages, Ash.
No, we haven't.
We haven't for ages.
There's literally...
yeah, we do have... Rob.
Action figure and toy news.
But
So we had the Power Rangers live stream at the very beginning of the week.
Oh, of course we did. Yeah, forgot about that.
We got the next bunch of the remastered popping up.
What do you think?
Andy.
So they've put the gold bands and the gold armor in with Jason this time.
This was
Because they
naughty.
released the last time they released the Green Ranger, he came with the gold. This time they're releasing Red Ranger with the gold.
This was
So-
naughty. This was
He
really
does wear
naughty.
it in the TV. He does wear it in the TV.
He does
show, to be
wear it.
fair. He
It's
does
not
have
they've given it
No.
to like the Blue Ranger or something.
Shall I tell you why this is naughty? Because predominantly people want it for the Green Ranger. You don't want a Green Ranger without his Dragon Shield. So if you're buying the Green Ranger, you therefore have to buy the Red Ranger. You can't just buy the Green Ranger on his own. You have to buy the Red Ranger, and that's what's naughty about it. I like the fact that it's detachable and that it is adjustable as well, so you can put it on pretty much any one of your figures. But I did think that was a little bit naughty.
Look
the
at what's
Green
extra naughty.
Ranger-
Do you know what's extra naughty?
Go on.
They've kept the gold bands on his boots and on his arms.
Oh, they have.
So that when you put the gold armbands on him, it's the complete gold look, whereas they haven't with Jason. So you can take Jason's off, but this guy looks silly because he shouldn't have those gold bands. I don't think
No.
without the gold armor.
It's good to
The
see that the
original-
helmet's correct this time, because obviously the first Green Ranger we got was based on the later look, wasn't it?
It was,
Whereas
yeah.
this is obviously based on the original look.
And
But
it's got the
that
candle.
is you know what? I didn't even notice that on the live stream, but that is
So the-
super naughty.
They have deliberately given us the gold ranger the gold armored Green Ranger without
Yeah.
without the gold armor.
Now I've got the yellow one of this. I've got the yellow Ranger from the 30th anniversary. I got that one. I didn't get the blue one, but that's sold out everywhere now.
So
Billy
it's
Flanagan.
green. Green
I
sold
haven't-
out everywhere now.
Yeah, I had the opportunity. It came up. I could have done it, but I was like, I'm kind of kicking myself now because I'm like, I should have got it because everyone's going to want it. And if I go back, I'm not going to be able to get him.
Do you think the likeness has changed completely now since the death of Jason David Frank?
That doesn't look as good.
It doesn't look like him at all.
No.
That looks more like Beauty and the Beast transformation at the end of the film. That's more like Prince Adam.
Should I tell you what I thought
Look
it
at
looked more like? I thought it looked more like the comic book version. You know, like the comics that they do, the Mighty Morphin
Yeah,
comics.
Boom.
thought
I
it was
actually
more like-
think it's more based on comics than it is on the actual person.
Yeah.
Probably.
Especially
Although I
with
think it's
the flamey bits, like 'cause that's much more comic panel than
yeah.
Yeah.
you know.
And I like the fact that it came with the green candle this time. So that was like a big part of the story, wasn't it? In the first part of the season, it was like a big, like 4-part episode. I think that one.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a
It
big
was.
kind of introduction, wasn't it?
candle goes out, he loses powers forever.
That's actually an incredibly good impression.
That was really good. That was really good.
That was Cocaine Bear versus Goldar coming soon.
That was really good. We got a Goldar in the wings. But yeah, it's
It's been sitting on that for like 2 years worth of videos. Just
what I
busts
did
that
question
out.
though, before we lose this picture, what I was curious about is that is there not a third gun? Because the others all have the third gun,
It's not listed.
but this one's the only one that doesn't have like a shooting version of the gun.
I suppose it has the candle instead.
Yeah, I know, but one of the big selling points was that you had the they're not called guns, what are they called? Like
Power Blaster, aren't they?
power
Power
blaster, that's
Blaster.
it.
That's what that
But the big kind of thing was, oh yeah, we've given you multiple power blasters so you can pose it however you want, etc., etc. But yeah, they didn't give it to us in this one, which I just thought was weird. But yeah, I don't know. I think the reason I didn't pre-order him was because of the head sculpt. I think that's
Yeah,
what put me off.
I was looking at it thinking I've already got the Gold Ranger technically. Sorry, the Green Ranger technically. I just wanted that new candle.
I
Only thing I wanted.
The other thing as well is that I think it was silly releasing 3 at once, because obviously they released red, pink, and green all in the same time, but then they haven't released black. So I was like, why didn't they do 2 and then 2? Because I think if they'd done 2, I might have pre-ordered them. But I don't think this image does her head much justice, because I thought the
No,
head
it
sculpt
doesn't.
looked really good.
No, it doesn't. I can't say it. It doesn't do her head any justice at all. The face sculpt on the stream was absolutely stunning. This looks no like that live stream version.
No, it doesn't. It really doesn't.
Again, I think it looks like the comic.
Yeah, but the head sculpt on the live stream looked really like Amy Jo Johnson. I thought.
Interesting. Dun,
Yeah.
dun, dun.
It's just weird that the ones that don't look like. For me, it's just weird that the ones that don't look like the characters are the ones that don't want to be a part of like I said, they're done with the franchise kind of thing at the minute. Obviously, Jason David Frank had a fallout with Hasbro. He didn't really want out to do with the 30th anniversary. Kimberly said she didn't want really anything to do with it. She's kind of done. So I mean, it seems like they're finding ways of pushing them to one side a little bit.
Which was strange because they were the only two that cameoed in the 2017-18 film.
Yeah, that was before Hasbro's takeover, though, wasn't it? That was still when it was
Still
Bandai.
Saban.
Yeah, Saban.
Yeah, no, but I just mean that it just was odd that it was those two that didn't have anything to do with the big official where they were the characters, but they did something with a little cameo. But then I suppose you know, personal reasons and all that. What else did we get? We also got a couple of others, didn't we?
We did, but before we go on to those, I just want to share something that caught my attention this week that I'm quite looking forward to. Stranger Things is crossing over with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles in the IDW comic books. The weirdest combination of crossovers on the planet. So basically,
getting that.
So basically, the Turtles are going to go through a portal and they're going to come out in Hawkins. And
we've had those toys.
Battle with the Demogorgon.
We've had the 2-pack.
But there's been no word on the thing yet whether there are going to be any cameos from the actual cast in it, like whether Eleven's going to appear, or whether it's just going to be like the Turtles versus the monsters, which I think would do better, to be honest.
Yeah, I think that'd do better.
You could leave the storyline of the season going on in the background. You could they could have panels where you see the actual season like going on, and the Turtles are like to the side of it all, like in the background, killing the monsters. That could be cool, like an off-camera kind of thing.
So we'll either have to get a Turtle Gorgon, or they'll have to end up in the upside shell or something like that. They'll put some kind of. That would be my two predictions for it. As a demo. Yeah.
Yeah, that's brilliant. Just quickly though, we also got the Rita Repulsor. That was what I was thinking. That I forgot which one it was. They announced a Rita, didn't they?
They announced a Rita with changeable faces.
We don't need to talk about her because, I mean, she had 3 head sculpts. It was cool. Whatever.
It was a cool figure. They got the screaming face, the regular face. Yeah. He's all right. I've still got my original. I still like that one.
Yeah.
And they gave us the 2 monsters as well that also featured in the movie, in the TV series. Didn't there as well?
That was a nice little bit of foreshadowing.
Make my monster grow. Sorry.
They knew that. They knew what they were doing. Shall I tell you actually something else about that live stream? Is they addressed the QC issues at the beginning.
They did, which was quite nice.
Did they?
Yeah, they announced they.
I missed it, by the way, because you couldn't tell.
They put contact details out and said, to contact them if you have any issues, they want to know about it. So they were actively, looking into it. However, if you want to go out there this week, my cover girl that I had trouble with.
Yes.
So I reached out to Hasbro, and they told me to reach out to Comics and Cocktails. I reached out to Comics and Cocktails. They said they would exchange it, but they don't have any more in stock now. And everywhere else is sold out of cover girl. So I'm like, well, I don't want to return it then. Yeah. So now I'm stuck with a cover girl with arms that fall off.
That's how it rolls, and I think that's really poor on their behalf. Like, because I've had issues with them as well in the past, and they always refer to the retailer. It's like that Venom that I got with the wing, the extra wing, and it was Hasbro that reached out to me via Instagram, and I wasn't even slating them. I was just like, "Oh no, look at this!" Like, and they reached out to me, and I spoke to them, and then they said, "I'll speak to your retailer," and I was like, "What?" So you've saved face a little bit on social media, but you've not actually done anything about it. But hey ho, business is business.
So we've got the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. These are going to be hitting shelves very soon. This is from the new movie Mutant Mayhem. These are the official images this time, because last time we shared it, apparently we were sharing images that had been taken from the company.
Oh, really?
Yeah, a load of people had copyright strikes and all sorts going on. But this time around, these are official, to be fair. And these are the new Turtles and how they're meant to be looking and packaging and all that good stuff.
I quite like the retro throwback to the packaging. They look a lot like those old school turtle figures.
Especially that purple background as well.
Yeah, all right.
It's a
I mean,
good blending of the old and new.
I'm not overly excited about this film.
No,
I am.
I'm not excited for this line of merch, but I'm excited for the retro merch that they're slowly releasing alongside of it. There's a lot of retro stuff coming out at the minute, so I'm gonna stick with that.
Yeah.
Although it's hard to beat Super Sevens. The Super 7 ones I've been collecting are amazing. Ryan, what the hell are you playing with?
He's trying to morph.
I can hear him in the background going.
It's because the cover was open, but then it makes a noise, and I think the batteries might be going on it. This is the problem when Zordon's not around anymore. You have to rely on double A's.
So we got an
12, you
announcement.
shit.
This was a gold label announcement for the DC versus Vampires color collection from DC Multiverse. Superman as a vampire. This one's going to be exclusive. It's the gold label, and it's probably going to be a Walmart exclusive, I believe, in America for this one. Over here in the UK, these will just appear on our regular fan sites. But yeah, it looks decent. I'm looking forward to that one. I'm going to probably collect all of the vampire ones, to be fair.
Yeah, I mean, they fall in line with
your horror stuff. That goes really well.
It does all falls in line with all the monsters, so I'm going to probably collect that whole line.
It looks pretty cool. I mean, you know, Superman as a vampire. You know, what's not to like?
Then we obviously had the Star Wars stream. We had the final Mando Monday, whatever they were calling them.
Yeah,
Mando days. We got a Black Series R5D4. D4, Jesus Christ. R5D4. This is the Black Series version, so we are getting a re-release of the Black Series one, except this time it'll be Mandalorian rather than New Hope.
Yeah.
So basically a re-release of the one we got for the 40th anniversary a long time ago, but it was hard to get here in the UK that one. So it was a Target exclusive. And back then, in 2017, it was hard to get those back then. Toys R Us, you had to rely on them, and they didn't always get the good ones in.
No, Toys R Us were really hit and miss with the exclusives, weren't they?
So then we got the TVC releasing another Boba Fett. Shocker.
Another Boba Fett.
Another Boba Fett. Can you believe it? This is the Tuscan Boba Fett, which looks exactly like the last one we got, except now with cloth cuts.
Hey, don't be angry at Boba Fett.
It's Boba Fett with a new hat.
And just in case you missed him all them years ago and you need another one, R5D4 is back again, but this time in the TVC line as a repack from 2016.
Which obviously is for the N1. Let's be honest. This is what this is for, because a lot of people have obviously bought the N1, and as revealed in my video, I did something for once. Obviously, the Droid port is coming on for the M1 as well. So, and a lot of people were instantly, a lot of the comments I was getting was about like, are they going to re-release it? You know, blah blah blah. You can only get this version, and it's like it's obvious they're going to release it. They just haven't announced it, and now they have. It makes sense. It's going to be the Builder Droid sculpt so that you can switch the heads over.
So you dropped this new little bit of news, Ryan. You had this scoop on this.
I actually did, and it was all thanks to my good friend Dave, actually, because I was just so soaked up in the fact that I was there, and my mate Dave was like, you know, you should probably just ask if you could do an interview or something. The worst thing I can say is no. Like, oh yeah, kind of. You know, I have a YouTube channel. I should probably do some YouTubing. So thanks to Dave, who was my cameraman as well. And then just before we were about to start, they came in and was like, oh, don't forget to show this off. We didn't talk about this, and it was the droid port. That's going to be for the N1, which is cool because you can use any of your droids that you've got, any builder droid, the head. So you could go nuts with some real odd ones. You can have an R4 head in there if you want, or all sorts.
That's cool.
Which look a bit odd.
That is cool. And they've got a whole bunch of restocks as well, haven't they? Because that way everyone went mad for that, and then everywhere got restocks. Yeah,
Hasbro really upped their allowances on this one. So that I noticed that they started contacting all the other companies like Star Action Figures and many others, saying they're giving them more allocation. So I think they kind of underestimated how popular it was going to be, and then just
I think it was a test in the waters. Because the thing is, you can release some, and if they mostly sell, but if you release a certain numbers, they sell out, and you go, okay, well, we haven't actually started production on it yet, and so then we'll increase it. I think this is what we're going to start seeing a bit more of, though, from Hasbro. Obviously, it's a more cautious world they got to be in now. Nerdzoic did a really good video the other day about like the dangers of playing effectively Nerd Chicken. It was a really good video, and it's a good point. And I think this is a good example of where maybe we're going to start seeing some of the things happening with Hasbro. Like it'll be more a reactive number. So there'll be an initial release, the first batch, see how well they sell in the pre-sale, in the how much pre-order wise, and then if it looks like it's going to be a really promising thing, then release a second batch. But I think it'll be very much a case of they have two figures in mind in like numbers. They'll see how well the first release does and go, okay, we'll either cap it at that or we'll do that. I think that's going to be a good tactic to try and avoid as much clearance going forward.
Everyone was talking about this. Go on, Tom.
I'll say we'll see what happens when it starts coming to the first wave going out, because I think a lot of people didn't realize the dates changed, did they, when the second wave came out? Some people are getting theirs early. Like, obviously, people that got there first are going to get the first allocation wave. Second wave comes in August. So I think there's going to be some people that are going to be like, oh, I want mine. I ordered one on the same night. But sadly, yours came from allocation 2, which is going to be later down the line. So people are going to get used to that mentality now as well.
This whole kind of nerd chicken conversation as well. Like, Hasbro have done a lot of sales recently. There's no two ways about that. And Hasbro products have been on sale in a lot of retailers. Whoa, did you guys see that? A figure just threw down on it. Did you see that?
The Hasbro gods are angry. You will not talk about our retailing system.
It was Stan Lee. He was like, shut up, stop talking about it.
He's not a true believer.
But the I'm really scared now. What did I do to upset you, Stan? But no, the funny thing is that the noise about there being a big sale was talked about a long time before it happened. Like, I did a video on it. Lots of people did a video on it based on kind of Hasbro's movements and all that kind of stuff. We knew there was going to be big sales, but yet everyone's acting like this is the way forward. And I'm kind of like, has everyone forgotten that, 6-8 months ago or whatever, we all predicted a big sale on a particular kind of date range of product. And I think if people are going to kind of sit back on things and kind of go, oh, I'll wait for them to go into sale, they're going to be massively disappointed because, as you say, allocation's not as high as it was last year. Like, they were putting their allocation out based off the back of the COVID bounce that, during COVID, loads of people were getting into collecting, loads of people were spending money that they weren't spending it on normal day-to-day things, getting into new hobbies and that stuff. There was a huge bounce, and now it's kind of leveled out again. So, yes, there is going to be massive sales on certain things, but we're not going to see that moving forward. That is not the way forward. It's not going to be, here's your product, this is the price. Oh, everybody sat back and not bought it, so we're going to reduce it. They just won't be produced. So, yeah, it's a dangerous game. If you don't pre-order something, I think we're back to those days.
Agreed.
My little
I totally agree with you. I think you're spot on. Was there any other toy news from Hasbro?
Yeah. So we've got a couple of Marvel Legends news. We got the Super Adaptoid finally.
The Super Repaintoid.
That's based on the 12-inch Captain America.
It is the 12-inch Captain America. It is the 12-inch Captain America with a different head and a bit of plastic on his chest.
Well, yeah, so it's very based on it.
Shall I tell you what the annoying thing is as well? Is that I think the star even came out of the original. No, it came out of his back. Sorry. Ignore me. But yeah, the star on the back of Captain America came out so that you could put the shield in. But yeah, it is just the 12-inch Captain America just painted green. Like, it's cool.
I mean, I don't know the character. Like, is that a bad thing? Like, it's like the Marvel Retro Collection. I always said I would be really happy with a 12-inch of just the exact same Ant-Man figure, for example. Is this something? I don't know the character really well. So does it at least look like the character, or is this just...
Yeah, comic book wise, it's pretty decent. Like, I mean, it looks like the character from the comics. He basically has the look of Hawkeye, Iron Man, Captain America, Thor, like has all those things in him. Like, it's cool. I mean, as far as comic book characters go, it works. But wasn't
he like a big silver robot in the comics? And then as soon as he starts fighting the Avengers, he slowly turns into them bit by bit, doesn't he? Like a crossover.
Yeah. But this is
turns into them, doesn't he?
The end result or something.
The green version
the end result of it. Yeah.
Yeah, the green version is definitely the more familiar version. Yeah. But yeah, and obviously from a reproduction point of view, it makes sense. They've got the molds for these 12-inch figures, so of course use it. But I don't know, it scared me a little bit seeing it come out at like 80 quid. That for a 12-inch figure you're looking at 80 quid, and if they're starting to test the waters with it a little bit, are we then going to get some of these? And I don't know. I
How
don't
much
think
was
it's
the
going to
Captain
land.
America it's based on originally?
25 quid.
Really?
Yeah, they were dirt cheap.
Yeah.
They got.
You got the movie Black Panther was the last 12-inch figure they did, I think. And even that was like 40 quid when it came out. Thereabouts.
Yeah,
I mean, it goes for a lot more.
I got the Iron Man one when it first hit shelves, and that was only 35. I remember that.
Yeah.
Because I had paid 35 for mine.
And the scary thing is as well is that if you speak to a lot of people over in the States, this line did not land well. I mean, for us guys over here, it was more of an imported line. It was more of a specific line, so they were a little bit higher. If you're going to get these figures on the secondhand market, you will pay a little bit more for them. I had Captain America, Thor, Iron Man, and Hulk, I think it was. I've still got Thor and Thor and Captain America. I kept those. But yeah, the Black Panther was the more sought after one because it was the kind of the whole thing with the movie. But yeah, it's massively shot up in price. But I suppose it's a little bit reflective of inflation anyway. But yeah, it's a no for me. This, however, quite excited about.
Mary Jane Watson Green Goblin 2-pack.
It actually really looks like the cartoon, which I really love because I'm not, I don't collect Legends at all. But it definitely made me stop and look because I'm like, oh, it's just like the cartoon. It actually does look like the cartoon. I love the animated series.
Just quickly, Stug said there, I think the comment's a bit delayed, but Adaptoid did have wings as well in the comic books, and giving him the wings would have been good. And they could have, because they have that hole on the back of him where the star comes out. But hey ho, it would have added another
plug-in thing then.
It would have been like another 20 quid on top. It would have been like £100 figure. But anyway, back to MJ. I really like this. It looks predominantly like a new sculpt, which is quite nice. I don't like the fact that the hair doesn't rest on the shoulders. I think that's a little bit lazy. Green Goblin is a very welcome update because the only other ones that we've got have them kind of those kind of
scales.
Yeah, like fish scale kind of plating, because obviously it's a reuse of the things like Black Knight and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Excuse me. So this is really nice to see like a smooth Green Goblin. Disappointed that it's got pegs. You can see the pegs in it. But hey ho, and they've still not changed that glider.
Nope, still the same glider.
And the pumpkin bomb as well.
But yeah, like you say, it's but like I say, I like the fact that it's in the proper shade of green, and it's got the nice smooth looking costume rather than scales. A lot of people were saying that MJ, they were annoyed that it was the TV series version rather than a comic book version, but she does wear that in the comic books quite regularly. In fact, I think she wore that outfit when she did the famous line of "You've scored, Tiger."
No,
I think she was wearing that exact outfit. Oh, she's wearing black in that.
She's wearing a black vest.
Oh,
that is the cartoon, isn't it?
It is based on the cartoon. Yeah, it's VHS. Yeah.
It might be that she's wearing this in the cartoon when she says it, but I'm sure in the comic book she's wearing a black vest. If anyone knows, and whether I'm right or wrong on that, please do let us know in the comments. But I'm pretty sure it's a black vest that she's wearing, or a black.
She's a man in the chair.
Man in the chair is googling it.
Yeah, she's wearing a black. Yeah, she wears a black. She's got like a black sleeveless top on it. In the cartoon, she's wearing that outfit. Yeah, you are right.
I know my comics.
They did the same. They did the same thing in the cartoon where she's standing at his door and she opens the door and it says, "Yeah, she's scored, Tiger. You hit the jackpot, Tiger."
You know what's really interesting about this 2-pack though that I need to point out? I don't know if you've noticed, but there is no cell shading.
Yeah, there isn't.
No cell shading at all.
Because people bitch and moan about the cell shading?
Yeah, but you're changing a brand, like you're changing a product midway through. So you've got all of the X-Men that have been released in the VHS 2-pack, single packs have got cell shading. The first Spider-Man 2-pack that they released has got cell shading, and then they released this one and it hasn't got cell shading. Now, I for one, I'm pleased because it will fit in better with like my retro lines and all that kind of stuff and the animated series look. Sorrel is gone. He is no, he's all right. I can see him still. He's ducked out. But yeah, but it's, I don't know. It's just interesting that they've kind of done that, but didn't announce it. They didn't make a thing out of it.
The thing is, like, the problem with anything like nowadays is like half the people moan that it is something, other half the people moan that it isn't something.
Yeah.
I kind of feel like they can't win. Bless them. There's nothing they can do to satisfy remotely anyone there.
No.
Is there not an animated Peter one already?
There's the retro Peter. There isn't an animated Peter. So the animated Peter had that much kind of more 70s hair, didn't he? We haven't had
70s
that
hair
head
and then
sculpt.
the grey jump jacket and the t-shirt.
The greeny and white striped shirt.
Yeah.
He wore like one shirt for the whole show.
I mean, he was a student for most of it, so maybe that was his excuse.
But we haven't
Bloody
had
student.
we haven't had that Peter. That's
Wow,
we
see,
have
that's
not
like
had.
the iconic Peter to go with it. That's interesting.
Yeah. So we haven't had that yet. So I think it's coming, and I think it will be as part of this wave. Now, what's interesting is they did announce that the Spider-Man VHS line is going to be a bunch of 2-packs. So we had Carnage and Spider-Man, like symbiote Spider-Man, wasn't it? I think we had a Carnage and Spider-Man 2-pack. We had a Doc Ock and Aunt May 2-pack. We've now got an MJ and a Green Goblin 2-pack. So I think we're going to get a
Peter Parker and Scorpion, or Peter Parker and Hobgoblin, or something.
Yeah.
Or
It'll be something like that. I'm really hoping that we get kind of more animated show specific characters. So things like Smythe, who done the Spider Slayer.
yes,
That would be
I
cool.
loved that character, especially with the chair.
Yeah,
so cool.
yeah. Morbius in the kind of Morbius way. Here he is. He's back.
Hello.
But yeah, like Morbius in like the Morbius way. We were just saying that with this 2-pack Spider-Man line, I hope that they do more like animated series specific characters.
We've got one more 2-pack to be announced, haven't we?
Yeah, and that's
I'm really hoping it's Blade and Morbius.
That would be amazing. But I think
because obviously they feature in the same episode, don't they? So it'd be a good idea to shove them together.
I think it'll be Peter and Scorpion, like you just said, Ryan. I think it'll be a character that we've had before, just done in a slightly different paint scheme, and then it'll be like a new sculpt Peter, like animated Peter. They've got to give us an animated Peter. They can't do all of these animated characters and not give us an animated Peter. So I don't know. But yeah, was there any other toy news?
No, that was it, mate. That was everything.
You know, we were speaking about QC stuff, right?
Yeah.
This is a total tangent. As always, you know what I'm like. I have to have something to play with, giggity. And I'm just opening an old figure that I had laying around. I got an extra Moff Gideon to do a custom with. But I've just noticed he doesn't have his moustache painted. So I've got effectively young Moff Gideon. Like, basically, I've got Moff Gideon before he goes to a job interview. Like, I've got, you know what I mean? Which is pretty good. That's
Moff Gideon on a
variant
Sunday.
to have.
Sunday Moff Gideon. Right, let's go on to our Spotlight of the Week. In the Spotlight this week, we are going to talk about Mighty Morphin Power Rangers 30th anniversary. What was it called? The Always and Forever, or think, or
yeah, Always and Forever.
No, Always and Forever. What was the
Once and Always? Once a Ranger, always a Ranger.
Oh yeah, of course it is. Once a Ranger, always a Ranger.
Tyrannosaurus. Sorry.
You know what's really funny is I know that line, and I've heard that line so many times, but I really struggled to remember the name of the episode.
Yeah.
Once and Always. Does someone else want to start? Because I've got opinions.
I'm about to say, I think me and Ryan have got a more favourable view of this.
Because we were like school children texting each other. Because we had got up early, and we were sitting there with our bowls of cereal in our pajamas, watching Power Rangers first thing in the morning.
Where was my invite for this? Oh, I was working.
You were working because you got a message in the chat saying no spoilers, please. So I instantly messaged Ryan privately and just went, dude.
Yeah.
Best episode
we
ever.
were probably geeking out because the thing is, like, I genuinely got up early before work.
Yeah. Right.
Hey, Phase 2 action review.
If you've got opinions on Once and Always, if you watch that 30th anniversary special, put your opinions in the chat, put your comments, what your thoughts and stuff like that as we talk about it. Because this is our spotlight. It's what we're going to round the show off with. Okay. As a Power Ranger fan,
breath as well.
As a Power Ranger fan, it was awesome. Like, it was really cool to just have it back on our screens. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers back on our screens as a new episode. But it wasn't great. It wasn't great. Like, it for me, like, the inclusion of Green Ranger, Red Ranger, and Pink Ranger to not be included really sucked, if that makes sense. Like, it really sucked. And I don't know, it just, we guessed the
God's so quiet.
storyline,
I feel
didn't
like he's breaking up with us.
we? It's not me, it's you. No, we guessed the storyline though, didn't we?
Oh, that's
We did.
interesting. Sorry, just Shelley has got ads in the live stream.
Oh, Shelley.
Ooh.
Which channel are you watching on?
It'll be mine. It'll be
Who's
mine.
got, someone's got ads turned on. Turn your ads
I've
off.
got monetization turned on.
Okay. Wow. Okay. It's just got awkward. Right. I haven't on my channel, Shelley. Just FYI.
Why do you not have monetization turned on, but you are monetized, are you?
Not for a live stream, I don't.
Hey guys,
Yeah,
guess
you
what?
need, like, to
I'm
swing
not
this-
popular enough, so just come to my channel. They don't give a shit.
Anyway, listen. Once and
Mine's
always.
barely on YouTube.
Listen. Once and always. Right. Their acting hasn't improved. Let's be honest. The acting has not improved at all. Like, it is the same
It is
level
hard
of
to
Mighty
get better than
Morphin Power
perfection.
Rangers.
I get it.
And that was what was really cool. That was what was really cool. I really like the fact that it was still it was still kind of in keeping. Like, it followed on very easily. It didn't look like the budget had gone up. It didn't look like the acting had improved. It was all very much a continuation. The one thing that really jarred with me was how Red Ranger and Pink Ranger went super fit when they morphed. Like, this is coming from like a 40-year-old bloke. Like, I'm like, okay, they would have lost a little bit of their kind of kick-ass-iness when they morphed if they were kind of a bit round around the midsection, but they looked older when they were in the command center and stuff. They looked older. They were older. They were a different size, but then they morphed and they were back to how they were 30 years ago.
I have a theory on that.
What?
Right, so
It's spandex, to be honest. It's spandex, so go for it.
No.
But
I'm going to go for in real-time versions. Of course, they're not going to use them in the spandex because it would have looked awful. Let's be honest. So if we're doing, there's an obvious real reason for it, and also because obviously they use actual stunt actors and stuff like that for those bits. But in an in-universe type thing, I guess the argument could be made that maybe the power transforms them because it also gives them super strength and stuff like that. So, for example, if it was like when you morph, does it molecularly change you? You know, because if it makes you stronger and able to do things.
No, but Billy and Zach, we saw with their masks off, and their bodies look the same. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's where it threw me, because I was like, oh, the two guys that are kind of in good shape still, let's get you in the spandex and get a shot of you with your mask off. Do you want to wear it? No, I don't want to have my mask off in this. I'm not getting spandex. It's fine. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of, so that did throw it for me a little bit. That really did throw it for me a little bit. What's really interesting as well is Rocky was Red Ranger longer than Jason, like in Mighty Morphin. Like, Jason was only in it for like a year as Red Ranger, wasn't he? And then Rocky came in and went through for years and years and years. But in my head, it's still Jason. Do you know what I mean? When you say Red Ranger, you think of Jason. And I know Kimberly was longer than Kat, but it's still Kimberly. Do you know what I mean? And it's, I don't know. Yeah.
Well, the thing is, Kimberly didn't want to be a part of it. That's the thing. She said no. So they've got to move on and find the next Pink Ranger that was popular, and she was it.
What I really did enjoy.
Isn't she Tommy's wife in World as well? Isn't she married?
Yeah,
to Tommy?
and she's got a kid.
Yeah.
Called JJ.
JJ, yeah,
Something like that. So she turned up knowing that her husband was, like, she was there to save him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. They could have made more of a thing out of that. I was kind
Yeah.
of questioning that myself.
There was a few little things that kind of slipped through the net. Like at the very beginning, she said she had to sneak away from a summer camp thing or something.
Yeah.
And then they kind of didn't reference that for the rest of the episode. Like, obviously, she disappears for like a whole 48 hours and nobody bats an eyelid.
Yeah. I like the little kind of like nods to like Bulk and Skull and stuff like that, but they could have got them. They should have got them. Like,
They look nothing like though now, do they? That's the thing.
no, Bulk
They
is not as
wouldn't be Bulk and
bulky.
Skull anymore. Yeah.
Like Bulk would make the Rangers look out of shape. Like it's kind of like,
They could finally let them morph into their orange and purple Ranger suits from the comics.
oh, that would have been. See, but if they'd gone down that line, I think I would have bought into it more. Like I think they should have just really kind of gone. You know what? This is it. This is the last hurrah. Let's just do it. Let's just do everything and anything. It really jarred with me, the tribute for Jason David Frank at the end. Like that I didn't feel as comfortable with, knowing that he kind of had fallen out with them and didn't want to be a part of this. I was kind of like, oh, that's.
But if they'd have done one for Trini and not him, there would have been frigging uproar.
Oh,
you know that they couldn't win that situation. Someone's going to comment like you are, and someone's going to comment against it. They couldn't win that argument.
The way I look at it is that you can fall out with someone, but if someone passes away, you can still miss someone and still respect them. And I think that's the thing. Like they might have had their disagreements at the end before he, sadly took his own life. However, he was still very much a part of that world, and it was. You remember this whole special was for the fans.
Yeah.
So like
I think a huge part of it.
I know what you mean. There's that kind of part of it's like kind of going. Is this just because they felt like they had to? But I suspect actually, I think it's more because they probably wanted to, because it was right to do, to acknowledge it.
I do completely agree. It's just
it got me emotional a little bit. Actually, I'll be completely honest. I did genuinely get a little bit emotional that bit.
Yeah. Oh, I did as well, because it was like, wow, there's two people that I watched as a kid, and they were these superheroes, and like they're doing this callback show, and they're no longer here, let alone a part of it. But. Yeah, we called the story. I quite liked the whole Trini's daughter storyline. Like, to be honest with you, I actually quite liked that. It was cheesy. It was obvious. Where did the flying car come from? Like, did I miss something, or did he just make a flying car?
It's Billy. He just had a flying car. If someone was going to have one, it was going to be Billy.
That wasn't from before, was it?
No,
that wasn't a callback to something else.
No,
not that I'm aware. That was.
Not unless there was something in the Turbo era.
But there was no point in it. Like no point in it whatsoever. Like why?
Because the latest HasLab has just been announced. And no, I'm joking.
But why did he have a flying car?
Because Hasbro and toys and toyeticness, and you know it's going to come later down the line to put it all in it. You know they're going to make toys.
Robo Rita.
Let's remember something. This wasn't for us.
This
was made for children. It wasn't.
No, it was
made for children.
No,
I actually agree with Jake. I think it's 50-50. I think it's as much for adults, like you. Because let's be honest, you got to remember, Ash. Your argument is that. However, there's 3 people in here, and 100% of us watched it. Okay, and 2/3 of us got up early before work just to watch it. So I think I agree with Jake. I think it was as much for adults, and that I mean I know what you mean. They've got to sell toys, but I think it's this much for kids, and I think it was this much for the people that grew up with it.
I would go as far as saying this was not for children. That the children was not the main viewer demographic, because no kid is going to watch this and go, oh, I'm going to go back and watch like a 30-year-old TV show because of this one special. Like, I really don't. But yet everybody that watched that TV show would watch the special, if that makes sense.
This was a way of introducing those characters to a new audience without having to go back and traipse over 30 years of material. So basically, this was a nice, easy way of going, we're going to be using these characters going forward. Here's an introduction to them for a new audience. That's basically what this was.
Yeah, I mean, that can't be appearing in the latest show or something, for all we know.
I reckon, the way they ended it, they've basically, if you think about it, they've taken away all the people that didn't want to be a part of the franchise. They've now gone away with Adam and Aisha to that place, to that planet place where they're from, so they can make them big again. So they've gone for the time being. They've basically managed to write out Tommy, Kimberly, all the characters didn't want to reprise.
Yeah.
And then
From the other
now they
series
can,
as well.
yeah, so now they've whittled down the cast to just the likes of Billy and Zach to reappear as like mentors to a new
Catherine.
group of Power Rangers. And
Yeah.
the hunt for Zordon's now going to begin. And we've got the new Yellow Ranger. And I
I
wonder
think
if,
that there is serious potential for a new batch of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers.
that's what I
with
think.
the Yellow
think
Ranger
Bill-
obviously being the Yellow Ranger,
Yeah.
and then passing the other colors on to
Yeah.
these new younger people. And I think that would set up for a potentially really interesting TV show.
Making Yellow
Yeah.
Ranger the leader.
Yeah,
Mm.
Could be quite a cool
Yeah.
dynamic.
100%. And I think
let's
that
be
would
honest,
be
if they
interesting.
didn't introduce somebody to play JJ, I think they're missing a trick.
Oh,
Yeah,
I mean, the
it's
son
gotta
of
be
basically
done.
a setup.
the son of Tommy. The
That's
son of
gonna
Tommy would be
be
amazing.
that will be the Green Ranger, hands down. When the Green Ranger is introduced, it will be that will be
Or
JJ
the White
as
Ranger.
I'm about to say
Right,
because the Green Ranger's coin and Green Ranger is now gone with Adam and Aisha. That's the thing; those power coins have gone for the time being. But they were
It doesn't
messing
matter,
with
does it?
at the very beginning. They were messing with the what was it called, the morphing grid, to manipulate the power onto other coins. So they're already
Yeah,
looking into it.
They killed off another original character from the original TV show, really like crudely. You know, there's a gravestone that they get thrown into.
Yeah.
It's a character from like about 3 or 4 episodes of the original series. There's no rhyme or reason for it. Just someone, like, I saw it the other day online. Someone was like, "This is the darkest Easter egg of all time." He's like a game show presenter or something in the Power Rangers universe, right? And it's like Harvey something or whatever, and it's the gravestone that gets thrown in and basically blown up. But it's actually a character from the original. It's like a really fucking dark Easter egg. Like, not only are we gonna, like, by the way, he's dead, we've just now desecrated his grave as well. Power Rangers.
Just like Easter eggs, how you don't expect them. It's just kind of like, yeah.
It's morphin' time. Desecrate the dead. Zombosaurus.
I must admit, right? If it leads on, if this bridges a gap to a new Mighty Morphin era, I'll be all for it. As a standalone, it's 30 years old, and we're going to do this tribute show and kind of give you all a your old Power Rangers back. Then it's going to I think it'll just disappear into the history of Netflix. Whereas if they use this as a jumping off a jumping off platform for a new Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, it's going to carry a lot of weight. And think of the toys. They're just going to release all these new Mighty Morphin Power Rangers that people, they will cash in on it massively. But yeah, I don't know. It was all right.
Go mighty cocaine bear.
I knew it was going to come out.
You've just got your remastered Billy and Zach. Well, guess what? Now you're going to get remastered old Billy and Zach.
Yeah.
Chunkier versions.
Oh yeah, you're gonna get the old heads. What did you think of Billy and Zach? Just on that note.
Oh, Zach was like always my favorite as a kid. It was the weird little dance move bit in his opening credit sequence. Yeah,
and the fact that she said something in the program, she's going, "Are you dance fighting?"
Yeah. It's just so good. It just warmed my heart as well, because especially with David Yost. David Yost had quite a hard time. When you like grew up and then you read about like his time on the set, actually, he had a really rough time towards the end. And I think it was nice for him, I guess, to have a bit of a nicer experience, like a comeback, and like when all times are a bit further ahead. Because also there was a gay couple in this episode, which was really lovely to see as well. It was very inclusive. Like, the guys, like, my boyfriend's being attacked.
that bit, I was just kind of like, you don't need to make a point out of it. Like, they made it like as in a, hey, look what we're doing now. We've really moved on. And it was kind of like, come on, you didn't need to have like this. Like, we all knew that was a couple. You didn't need to have a shot of them hugging and stuff. Like, I was kind of like, why are you trying to show me that you've now moved on?
Actually, that is very like the original series. If you watch it, that is the kind of stuff that happens. But, it really is. It's like, kind of, oh my God, they're beating up my girlfriend. Somebody save them. And then she's like, cuts to a shot. And she's like in a completely different location. There's parties front. And they're going, woo! And then the Rangers fight. Suddenly they hug and go, oh, thank God. We won't kiss or anything, though, because we're on TV in America.
And
But we acknowledge
and-
we're in a relationship where we only touch each other from a distance.
and
Yeah,
the fact that when they did
abstinence.
touch each other, there would have been some form of sound effect like
Yeah, or like some cheesy piano
everything.
thing.
Every time someone fell over or made a noise in the original Power Rangers, it had a sound effect. Didn't it?
Yeah.
There was some
I
form of touch sound. Which may I just say, I am glad they toned down in this one. Did you not notice that every
Yeah,
time they
it was
moved,
nowhere
they
near
didn't
as
do
bad.
they didn't make the
Yeah.
whooshy noises when they moved and stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they like an itchy nose and like.
Yeah.
it did get me thinking back to kind of how I watched it as a kid, and like I didn't realize the timelines. Like Jason, Trini, were only in it obviously for like a year,
Zach.
Mm-hmm.
and
What
Zach.
season?
No,
They went
Zach
off
was
to
in
be
it for a
peace
bit longer.
ambassadors. No, he left the same
He
time as
left to be a peace
Jason and Trini.
ambassador.
Yeah, all three of them left to be peace
Oh.
ambassadors. They left because of
Then
the
it
pay
was-
dispute.
Then it was
Then
Aisha,
Kimberly
Rocky,
stayed a
and
bit
Adam. wasn't it?
longer. Yeah, again, Kimberly
Billy
stayed a
stayed
bit
like
longer.
all the way through, didn't he? He was Blue Ranger all the way through.
And he was
Blue
even into
Ranger-
Zeo, and then
Zeo?
he didn't have enough Zeo powers, so he stayed on at the command center as technical support until the Alien Ranger saga, in which he went started aging horribly, and so he went to Aquitar. Oh my god, I know way more Power Rangers than I thought I did. He went back to Aquitar with the Aquitarians, something like that, the Aquilish or something like that, the race
But
of
Billy
people.
stayed. The one Billy stayed in front of the camera in Power Rangers
Way
for a
longer
lot
than anyone else, other than
Yeah.
Jason David Frank, because he was the Red Ranger in the Zeo setup.
Yeah. Yeah. So he was in it obviously a lot more. But yeah, I know that Kimberly obviously swapped out for Catherine, but in my head I thought Kimberly was in it for a lot longer than she was. I thought Zach was in it for a lot longer than he was. You know, when I think of the Black Ranger, I think of Zach. Like, there's no two ways about it. And the Yellow Ranger, I still think of Trini. Like, I don't go to Aisha. I think of Trini, if that makes sense. But that was literally a season. That was like 10 episodes or whatever. It's madness, really.
10 episodes, you wish. Do you know how many episodes there was in season 1?
No, there was about
So
30, wasn't there?
About
There was-
30, 40 episodes.
Yeah,
It was
it
ridiculous.
was a stupid amount, but it was still only a year. It was 1992 to 3, wasn't it? 'Cause it originally debuted in 92 with a pilot, and then it launched in 93, I believe.
Don't the season 1 end with the whole, what's that in the viewing globe? That is the future Alpha. That is the White Ranger. Then we have to wait till the
And
next season to find out. what White
Featured
Ranger was.
on the song that was released and included in 100% Kids compilation album. Actually, the song
Nice.
ends after the theme song ends with that sound clip, which is
Yeah, I
another
remember
pointless
that.
bit of knowledge for you.
No, I remember that.
You mean that god awful song composition that just kept going danger, 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 go Power Rangers.
Yeah.
It was so cringe.
And what-
Every Comic Con I go to, they play that. It's always that followed by Apollo 440. It's always that followed by bloody Lost in Space. It's like the
What?
90s soundtrack.
What was the whole deal with Alpha as well? Like the way
That was
Rita-
Alpha 9.
Well, he was Alpha 5, but now he's Alpha 9 because he got destroyed.
Yeah,
Well,
I was kind of
we
like,
saw
what?
Alpha 8 on there as well. Alpha 8 was what became Rita, and
Yeah.
then Alpha 9 was the one that's off. But basically, apparently, they've just got like Alphas R Us down the road, and they just every time one pops its
Alphas
gears,
R
they're
Us.
just like they pop another one and go like, we've got the extended warranty plan. We got you covered
they-
up to Alpha 99.
But they never actually kind of upgraded the system. It would be like buying the iPhone 7 over and over again. Like,
Yeah, but
Let's
that's
always
what
replace your
everyone does.
favorite pet.
it's just, yeah, I don't know.
I mean, they missed
I
the
was
trick.
kind
Was really the obvious thing would have been to have his replacement called Beta.
Yeah, that's what they should have gone through. But I don't know, the whole Robo Rita thing, I was kind of like, when it happened, I was like, oh, for God's sake. But then I was like, actually, this is really Power Ranger-esque. This is the kind of thing that would have happened in Power Rangers. And yeah, the weird little song at the end, I wasn't sure about. I was kind of like, what? Just like, it didn't, I don't know, I didn't like it. But overall, you know what? Overall, for what it was, I quite enjoyed it. It was cheesy. It was fun. It was good to see familiar faces like back on the screen as the Rangers. Didn't you meet Rocky, Ryan? Didn't you go and
I
meet him at
did.
third base?
I've got his autograph on Power Rangers the movie DVD over there.
Didn't you say he was like really? Did you say he was really short?
He's really short. Yeah.
So-
I'm 6 foot on the dot, and when I went in there, and I went in with John, and John's also about 6 foot. So go up to him, and then he stands up for the picture, and I was just like, oh.
Whoa.
And I was like, do you know what? I always used to look up to you as a kid. I really admired all your work. You were fantastic. But it was a bit jarring because it sounds stupid. Like, I guess because in my head as a kid, I still see him as so much bigger. And then when you meet someone in real life, and it was actually like, I think he's like 5 foot, probably like 5'9" maybe, or something like that. But or 8 or 9. But he's definitely shorter than. But you can see it actually on set when you look at the other actors.
Yeah.
But I never registered it when I was a kid. If that makes sense.
No.
Even when I'm watching the movie, which
I
is
only
the most
noticed
90s box of 90s niceness ever.
No.
But yeah, he was. But I tell you what, though, absolutely lovely guy. So nice.
Yeah.
Like genuinely, like even to the point where it wasn't really clear about you had to pay for autographs and stuff like that. But it wasn't really clear. It was like you pay for one or the other. And he was like, "Oh, do you know what? We'll just do both. I'll sign your thing and we'll do a photo. Don't worry about it because I just appreciate you coming out. It's just really nice to be." And I was just like, "What a nice guy."
Yeah.
And his PR person was like, "You can't do that." And he was like, "Ah, no, it's fine. Don't worry about it."
He what?
His PR person was like, I think you have to and he was like, "Nah, it's okay, don't worry."
Because I was supposed to come with you, wasn't I? And I didn't. And I'm kind of kicking myself now because I was like, in my head, I kind of talked myself out of it because I was like, oh, he's not the Red Ranger I remember. But then when I actually looked back, I was like, he was in it for a lot longer than Jason was, and he really was the Red Ranger for me.
He was in the movie.
Bizarre, but
Do you know what John took for him to sign, by the way?
what?
Right? The VHS Power Rangers Christmas special. and which is one, very John to take.
Yeah.
But two, I think it might have been his favorite thing he's ever signed.
Oh, really?
But the thing is, you're talking about weird collectibles, right? I've got a 12-inch vinyl Empire Strikes Back soundtrack, right? And it's signed. It's signed by the guy who played Yak Face in Return of the Jedi, the guy who played Plo Koon, and the guy who did the voice of General Grievous. So two characters weren't even thought of before. But I just happened to have on me the 12-inch Empire Strikes Back vinyl record.
That just reminds me of you literally are, what's his name, out of Step Brothers. We were like, he gets his sword out. He goes, see your signatures, that is. That's better from what is it? America's Got Talent.
Yeah. You know, and you're not going to not get Randy Jackson's autograph on it.
Yeah.
I would have loved to have been that guy that took like a Jason figure to get Rocky to sign, just to see the reaction.
Well, you know what?
When I
was sizing up what I was going to take, and I had my Red Ranger figure, and I had the comic book, the Red Ranger cover of a comic book, but there wasn't. It was Jason in the comic book, and it was a Jason figure, and I was like, I can't take either of these because it's not him, and so I was like, but I need something to get signed, so I don't know. Without Ryan there, it literally looks like we're looking at a box of figures. It genuinely looks. That's actually really cool.
I haven't got it to hand. And also, by the way, sorry, this is actually a rug.
But it looks like a box of figures from here. It's a really good backdrop.
Yeah, do you know what's really confusing though? When you have it on the floor and you drop your box of figures, genuinely have done that. It took me about. In the end, I just gave up. I took everything else out of the area and just picked up, and just weapons just kept falling. Couldn't find them. It was a nightmare.
Amazing. Right, we've got a few minutes left.
I was going to say that on what you said about the episode, I said to Ryan, one of the first things I said about it was, I think I kind of enjoyed it that it wasn't a Tommy and Jason fest. I kind of enjoyed it being about the other Rangers for a change. I kind of enjoyed that element to it. The fact that they took Tommy and Jason out of it and they were still able to save the day, and you know what I mean? Because they're still the Power Rangers. But every time in the TV show, when it came down to killing the big monster and doing the big bad thing, it always came down to Jason and Green Ranger, didn't it? It always came down to the two guys. Whereas this was nice to see Billy and Zach get a forefront. Yeah,
and Billy was in the front of the Megazord as well, wasn't he?
He was.
Yeah,
in the driving seat. Which was just
Oh, that was the main jarring thing for me. The main jarring thing for me, actually, you say about things that jar. The main jarring thing for me was CGI Megazord. Fully expected the guy in a suit.
Yeah, that.
Yeah.
I
it was weird to watch that program because obviously they had more of a budget, so it was weird to see something that we're used to seeing very low budget have a budget.
Yeah.
I expected
Yeah.
expected to see this. Arr, get back.
I kind of would have preferred to have seen him in like the man in the costume, but overall, if I'm totally honest, it was awesome. It was fun. It was a good callback. They seemed to address every little kind of thing that they could, as in, where have you been? I've been here. What were you doing? I was, so it did all that stuff. It was cool. It was fun. But overall, having spoken with you guys, I really hope that it is a jumping point for a new Mighty Morphin series, because obviously there's a new Mighty Morphin film in the works that they're doing, isn't there? That
Yes.
We've
is
already
separate.
don't we already know this is part of a new thing? Because didn't they say a long time ago that she's been hired, hasn't she, for the future seasons? She's
Yeah.
not just been hired as a one-off. She's been hired as a future ranger now. So this is a jumping off point, I think, for the new Cosmic Rangers.
Do you
Plus
know
the
what
fact
I
that in
would
the new
really
series
love?
they just
Hang on.
finished fighting Goldar and stuff, didn't they? They just finished fighting Lord
Yes.
Zed and stuff. So they were kind of already in that era again,
Yeah.
playing back to it.
Do you know what I would
wonder-
really love? Right, it's an
What?
adult animated series that focused on the comic book, like Shattered Grid.
Yeah,
Because
the
they don't
boom
have to
stuff.
use the actual. They can use the characters without using the, Jason David Frank or like Austin St. John or whatever. They can
Yeah.
just use the characters, and I would actually really love. And it could be adult and on Netflix, something like that, or wherever. But I would really like an animated, almost like anime type series of.
Like the
the,
He-Man one that they
thing.
did on Netflix.
Yes, exactly that. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I completely
That's
agree.
what I
That
want.
would be awesome. And I think now would be the right time to do that as well, because you've got all the kind of 90s kids kind of jumping on board and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah.
And
it's
Hasbro, you can repaint all your figures to animated style, which is a whole nother release.
cell shading.
Dun, 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 dun.
So there we go. Cool. All right, then. No, I think that about rounds us up for this week. Episode 96. We are now four shows away from episode 100. The real question is, are we going to celebrate episode 100 or are we going to celebrate episode 104, which is our 2-year anniversary?
Both.
Both? Yeah,
both.
why not?
I
Why
like
not?
cake, so why not?
Yeah, let's do it. So we've got a few things in the works we're going to pull out. Lining up a couple of guests as well. We were saying that we haven't had guests for quite some time. So we're starting to line up a few for future episodes, which is going to be a lot of fun. But yeah, cool.
And
Okay.
if any of you listening would like to be a guest on Geek Week in Review, please contact us and we'll take your request into consideration. But you've been listening to the Geek Week in Review. Thanks for listening. Now back to Jazz FM.
There's a new sign off. See you later.
Okay.
But yeah, no, in all fairness, if you are still watching, we do appreciate you. Wherever it is you're watching, whether it's over on Super Sorrel channel, whether it's on Ryan Speaks Geek channel, or it's over on my channel, we do appreciate you. Of course, do like, share, subscribe, and all of those things wherever it is that you are. Do check out the geekweekinreview.co.uk where you can check out the other hosts, myself, Super Sorrel, and Ryan Speaks Geek, and give us a follow on various different social media. Yeah, that's about it. Join us next week for episode 96, where we will be talking about a whole bunch of things that haven't happened yet. And of course, yeah, that's about it, isn't it? Anything you guys want to say before we go?
11
Let's
days
bring 'em
until May the
together.
4th.
11 days, what?
11 days until May the 4th. Visions and Young Jedi Adventures is coming.
Yeah.
You know what?
Visions.
11 days until May the 4th, and 12 days until May the 5th, which is the release date for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3.
Hooga chaka, hooga,
Ooh.
Busy couple of days. Anyway, until next time, thanks very much for watching, and of course, keep it geek.